common fashion choice for many an urban hipster. Perhaps you own one yourself. But it's also, shall we say, a sartorial choice with a dark history. Can you say 20th century Italian fascism? When I was in college, I discovered that my grandfather had been a member of the fascist youth organization in Italy during the 1930s while he was attending high school. Of course, I was at the zenith of my leftist political philosophy at the time and was absolutely horrified. I mean, I was still trying to get over the fact that he had voted for Nixon twice. And I said to him, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "Hey, it's not like we had a lot of choice back then. You were living in fascist Italy, you wanted to go to school, you had to be in the fascist youth group." End of story. I went to school one day, they asked who had a black shirt, and if you had one, wear it to school the next day. And he said, the next thing I know, I'm out in the schoolyard with black pants and a black shirt, learning how to goose step and doing a fascist salute. He actually told me he lived in Frascati, which is a suburb of Rome. He actually did a military parade through downtown Rome, Piazza Venezia, and paraded in front of Il Duce, Mussolini himself, at his balcony. And I was fascinated from a historical perspective, but horrified from a political one. So how does my grandfather, who was born in Quincy, Massachusetts, end up in a black shirt, saluting Il Duce in Rome? Well, in the late 20s, his father and mother decided they wanted to go back to the old country. They had these great ideas that they kind of made it in America, and they were going to go back to Italy. Made their fortune, so to speak, in Quincy grain industry. Not much of a fortune. So they dragged all 6 of their kids back to Italy. Of course, as luck would have it, soon after that, the Depression hits. They can barely make a living. They've lost most of the money they've saved to start a business over there. So they decide, after 3 or 4 more years of living under Mussolini and my grandfather with his black shirts and his fascist salutes, that they're going to go back to the United States. And they even had his uncle Benny, my grandfather's father's brother, who came all the way back from Quincy, Mass. To Italy to help them settle their affairs and move the family back. So on the fated day, they traveled by train down to Naples to get onto the ship back to the United States. Everything's going fine, everybody's shuffling through lines. There's a government official at a table checking everybody in. And he sees my grandfather, the oldest son, and he says, "How old are you?" My grandfather doesn't give it a second thought. He says, 18. Step out of line. Why? You're military draft age. You're going in the army. He says, "No, I'm not. I get an American passport. I'm going home." "You want to live in Italy? You live under Italian laws." And they take him away. Put him in a jail cell. His mother's crying, his father's cursing, to no avail. So he's sitting in this jail cell, a couple of blocks away from the pier, for about a half an hour, wondering what's going to become of him. They're gearing up to invade Abyssinia, which is now Ethiopia. A lot of blood and guts coming down. After about a half an hour of sitting in the cell, he hears Uncle Benny's voice out in the street talking to the guard. And he climbs up and he looks out the window. And he sees the guard looking around and stuffing big water bills into his pocket. A minute later, he's outside in the street. Uncle Benny says, "What are you waiting for?" "We got a ship to catch." And he says, "What about the guy at the gate?" He goes, "Where do you think the rest of my money went? Come on, let's go, andiamo." So they go running down the pier. Sure enough, the nasty guy from before is all smiles and waves him aboard. For many decades after that, my family went back to Italy numerous times, sometimes 3 generations altogether, to visit family there. But my grandfather would never go back to Italy. I have nothing to see there. Nothing but bad memories. I'm not going. Of course, the joke in the family was that he was still afraid he was going to get drafted into the Italian army. 60 years went by. He never returned to Italy. After all our entreaties, come back and see family, see the places you live. No, I'm not going. And he never did. He lived to the age of 80. 6 decades went by. He never returned to Italy. And there's one other thing he never did. He never, ever again wore a black shirt. Thank you.